All right, we're recording. Are those recording?
A long time ago.
All right. I didn't catch that audio, though.
English must be a really hard language for people, like for immigrants that didn't learn English as a second language in their home country. It's a really difficult, like knob spelled with a K. Like.
It's a very difficult language. And so many.
Anyways, welcome to episode 60 of KT Confidential. We're your hosts. This is my wonderful neighbor, colleague, and business partner. Welcome to 2020, Mr. Adrian Trott.
Thank you, Mr. Ariel Kormendy.
Welcome.
This is our first podcast for 2020.
I'm excited for the podcast this year. We're going to elevate it. We got some great guests lined up for 2020, and we've got a couple new additions to the KT team this month. So lots of
big goals. I'm always excited this time of year because we put our goals in writing, and it gives you something to look forward to and strive for.
You know what's funny?
Go ahead.
So we're big on that goal planning, budgeting, targets. Big on targets, always have been.
Yeah.
From when we started in the business, in fact, if I look back to our first business plan, it was probably about 10 years ago that we sat down and we worked on it.
I think we did a 5-year plan at the very beginning.
We did a 5-year plan in the very beginning. We haven't done that actually for a while, and we should. And if I look back at that,
to a T,
almost to a T every year for achieving those targets and being like realistic, but targets that are not easily reached.
No.
So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited actually for this decade. Maybe we can chat a bit about that. What was your biggest, if you think what happened to us in the last 10 years, it's pretty crazy from
it goes so fast.
Spouses and children and
it goes
homes,
so fast.
Investments, business, employees.
Yeah, we will have been in our houses for almost 10 years this year. No, 10 years.
9 years this year.
Yeah, right. So, anyways, time goes fast.
So, welcome to 2020, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk a bit about today.
Yes,
because a lot of people set either resolutions or start coming up with new ideas.
I'm not a big fan of the stereotypical resolution. I don't like labeling it that way.
Yeah.
Because
I hate resolutions.
Right.
Stop setting resolutions.
Right. And
why are you waiting for one specific time or day throughout the year to benchmark yourself or set benchmarks? Why aren't you doing it throughout the year?
Right. Like if you go to a gym right now, it is packed. But if you wait
only for the next 30 days, bro.
Right. You wait 1 month and it's cleared out.
That's why I don't.
Except those people are still paying membership fees for years to come.
And that's why I don't set myself up for failure, because I know after 30 days I would not be continuing to go. I just stay fat.
New Year's resolutions that in itself is it's a good thing. Absolutely, it's a good thing. If you choose to wait till January 1st to implement it, whatever. It's the biggest thing is, what are you doing about it? And most people don't have the discipline or the know-how, or most people probably don't know how to follow through with their goals. Or they do, but they don't really practice it properly. So like for us, writing down our goals, keeping them in front of us, living by it every day, reminding yourself regularly, having somebody hold you accountable. There's so many things I need to do.
So here's what I want to talk about, because a lot of people have that ambition in the new year to save more money or make more. Net proceeds being more, okay?
Yeah.
And I was at a friend's house who was kind of talking about that. We're talking about next year and, oh yeah, I want to get this and I want to put some money aside for this and that and whatever. And I'm looking around in his house and we're chatting about things, 300 channels on cable. I don't know how much he's paying for it. Bell or Cogeco, whatever it is. A couple $100 a month.
Probably.
Do you really need all those channels?
Right. Well, especially now with all these streaming services, that's the easiest way to cut back. Like something like
you want to save money, yeah. That's an easy fix. Cut back, right?
Yeah.
Cut back on the things. So we talked about this last week. I made a few phone calls over the course of a couple of days because that's one of my goals for 2020 is to lower my recurring monthly expenses.
Right.
I don't care if I go and I want to splurge and buy a new quilt or buy a...
Such a random thing to say.
We bought the boys a couple of quilts, so... Fucking Pottery Bar $900 quilt.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, so you splurge on those things, right? Or if you're in a mall and you want to get a booster juice, sometimes you splurge on those things. But those are easy things to cut out. Like, did I need to stop and get a booster juice this morning? No, but I was thirsty as hell, and it's part of my monthly allocated budget.
Right.
That I set for myself. So that $5.65 that I spent on this morning is not a regular thing, right? So you look at your recurring monthly expenses. Get those cut out. Like,
well, think about
this.
Okay.
You can easily save, the average person, I believe, can easily save $100 a month without a problem at all on recurring monthly expenses, whether it's cell phone, cable,
car insurance, shop around car
insurance, any of those kind of things.
Sometimes even
hydro and
sometimes
gas.
Even without sacrificing. Like if you call your cable company and say you want to cancel, or call your cell phone company and say, I can't afford it anymore, I need to cancel and go with Fido or Kudo or whoever the cheaper alternatives are, they will work out a better plan for you. And sometimes even give you extra services. Like if you haven't changed your plan in 12 months, there's probably a cheaper plan now with more features that people are subscribing to that you just don't know about.
Yep. So you could be getting more for less.
Right. But that's what these companies bank on, is you signing up and paying indefinitely.
So here's my challenge to everybody in 2020 is to cut down those recurring monthly expenses, see where your money, the ability to know where your money is going is hugely important in wealth, in creating wealth. Okay. I use mint.com. You know that, or Mint.
I do too. Not as much as you, but this year I'm going to.
And I itemize all of my expenses. And once it tracks your habits and picks up those expenses on a regular basis, so as an example, booster juice for me is fast food.
Right.
Whether you want to consider it, I think it's categorized as fast food coffee. So this is my coffee as an example. So at the end of the year, not only is it easy for accounting purposes.
Well, let's backtrack for a second. For those who don't know what Mint is, because it's a very helpful tool and free.
Yeah.
Is there a paid version or is it just free? I don't even know.
I think it's just free.
I think so too.
And I don't know how
they get ads because like credit card companies will see whatever.
And if you want to apply for a mortgage or a credit card, you can do it right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think they share any kind of information.
No. But you'll get an ad from MPAC saying apply for a mortgage with us, or CIBC's credit card, apply for a 0% 30-day.
And some people are afraid. They're like, oh, I don't want to have my information in a third-party website or whatever.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If you're shopping on Amazon, eBay, Wayfair.
If you're buying in person, you scan a credit card, somebody could access all that.
You know how many stories of people's credit card getting fraudulent activities after going to a gas station?
Yeah. So Mint is owned by, is it Intuit?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
What else do they own? They're like McAfee, or not McAfee, like some virus scanner. Anyways, big organization, reputable company.
They are
so
now.
You go on, you register all your whatever bank accounts and credit cards, all your trades that you want, and they access it and it updates, suppose, all the information, all your banking records. It's easier to navigate than the bank websites themselves, I say.
Yep. Their app is excellent.
Yeah, and then you can set up budgets and label things and assign tax, some things for tax purposes.
Yeah, and some of the banks, like the big banks like RBC, they do have their financial tracker now, which is similar.
Yeah.
It's not as good.
No.
And this is pulling it in from all of your sources.
Right.
So if you have TD accounts, RBC accounts, BMO accounts, whatever, it's bringing everything in. You can put your assets in there. You can put your liabilities, your properties, all of those things. It's a great, great tool. And it really helps you zone in on what your monthly expenses are. And there's areas that you can cut back. So my challenge to everybody is start by finding how you can save $100 a month on your recurring expenses. Doesn't sound like a lot, but in 5 years, invested properly, that's going to probably be between $8,000 and $10,000.
Yep.
Just in 5 years. Now, if you do that and increase that 100 to lowering it to $150, $200 a month overall,
or save 100 and make 100.
Well, that's the other part of it, right? Is cut back your cable.
Yeah.
Invest that time in maybe selling some stuff around the house.
Right.
Or get a little side hustle going. Our family, we're really big on buying things from local vendors. So as an example, on New Year's, we had those little donuts.
Yeah.
Natalie has a contact here in town that she specializes in little mini donuts, makes them at home, packages them off nicely. And, so you support local small businesses like that. Easy to start something like that at home.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie did it with the felt Christmas trees and she loved it, right? So she would actually be watching a movie on Netflix or whatever at 11 o'clock at night after the boys go to bed and cutting out all of the ornaments and the tree and all that stuff. And she enjoyed it and made, quite a bit of extra money through the holiday season. So there's a lot of things people can and should be doing. But that's my first challenge for everybody. Now, if you think about that, $100 a month, that equates to roughly $25,000 on your mortgage.
Yeah, it's huge.
So just think about that. $100 a month on your cable? Would you pay an extra $25,000 for your house to get free cable?
Right.
I don't think so.
No, not a chance.
Right? So you got to think about it.
You put it in perspective for sure.
You got to think about it like that. And then even things like your utilities, hydro.
Yeah.
Using the hydro, we've talked about this before, using hydro in off-peak times.
So
Did you know now the hydro costs have increased to a point where your peak times are double than your off-peak times. So if it costs you $1 to run your dishwasher, it costs you $2.
We do everything off peak.
Yeah.
Some things mid peak if we need to, like laundry or something, emergency.
Yeah.
But we always try to avoid. I got an email the other day that was interesting from Milton. I think it was obviously Milton Hydro. And it said that my usage is higher than 90% of my neighbors. So
why do you think that is?
Well, Alicia
is
home all day. So that's one thing. But we talked about it and we said, well, let's make a conscious effort to make sure the lights aren't on and stuff like that throughout the day. Because it's easy to run into, especially if it's a cloudy day, whatever, you run into a room, turn the light on, then you go upstairs, you're there for a couple hours, the light's on downstairs unnecessarily.
Yep.
So just being more aware of what's going on is very important.
Maybe you should invest in putting some sensors into the on those lights.
Yeah, like motion sensors.
Motion sensors that are timed.
Idea. Yeah,
that would help a lot. I'm thinking of doing
like bathrooms, powder rooms.
Well, our ensuite light ends up on all the time because we're running in and out of it, or the closet light.
Yeah,
and I'm saying this is ridiculous, and there's no LED bulbs in them because I don't like LED bulbs in the bathrooms. I think the color is just brutal.
You can get some nice ones now, though.
Now you can if you find the right one.
Yeah.
It's hard to find them though, and they're expensive still.
Yeah.
Like under the 3,000K lights are okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what these dim down to, but these aren't too bad. 3,000. So that's the warm white.
That's like one of the warmest you can get.
Anyway, so that's my challenge for everybody.
So we're
save
going to call
$100
this
on
like
the recurring month.
KT.
Save some fucking money. That's what.
All right. We're going to hashtag that. $100 a month. So people are going to do this. So we want to help people stick to their New Year's resolution.
I saved by making maybe 4 or 5 calls before the holidays.
Yeah.
Because that was my goal going into Christmas, going into the new year. Just cut back. And not because we needed to, but because it's excessive. You don't need it. It's money being wasted. So I called Bell. They actually improved the service on the internet. They gave me free satellite up at the cottage. We cut back the TV to the basic because we decided we wanted Disney Plus. And I said, well, if we're getting Disney Plus and we have Netflix, we really don't need...
And Prime.
And we have Prime because we're Prime, Amazon Prime customers.
That's so much content.
So between those 3 and YouTube, really, you don't need cable. And I subscribe to Sportsnet Ontario, so I get most of my sports that way. So really, we didn't need cable, but I kept the basic plan. So you still have some of the on-demand and CBC and stuff like that, right? But it's $22 a month versus $147.
Jeez, that's huge.
Yeah. And, I didn't have cable for years and years, but with the kids and when Nat was pregnant, she wanted to watch stuff. Understandable. But really, that $120 or so a month savings.
Yeah.
And I don't miss it. She doesn't miss it. Then I called TELUS.
Remember when we used to work in the auto industry and people were haggling over like $2-3 a month on a car payment?
Right.
And it's funny when you think about it because there's so many other wasteful things people are spending money on.
You know what? I'm going to bring a little Jew into the podcast now that you mentioned that. Here's a tip for everybody. And you won't get away with it with us, but for the majority of things that you transact in your 2020.
Ask for a discount?
Yes.
What if you're buying a coffee at Starbucks?
Okay, there's exceptions. There are exceptions.
Yeah.
But you purchase. I guarantee everybody listening today has or is going to make purchases in 2020 that you're paying too much for, that you could have got for less.
Right.
Whether it's a vehicle, maybe a home, clothing.
Do people discount or ask for discounts at retail stores like that, clothing stores? I guess you could.
Look, depends where you shop.
Right.
Right. Does it cost you anything to ask?
No, of course.
What does it cost you?
I know what you're going to say.
Some time. Cost you a little bit of time to go and ask for a discount of some kind.
And your pride, perhaps?
But yeah, well, it depends. I mean, will your pride be in...
Well, who cares? You're never going to see the person
being mortgage
again.
Free at the age of whatever? Or is your pride paying full price for something that you shouldn't have? And, it's sad that somebody like myself might buy something for $10 and somebody else might pay $15 for the same thing. That's the life we live in, though. So don't be afraid to ask if that's the best price that somebody can do. Don't be afraid to ask if there's any discount available. It will save you money throughout the year.
Yeah.
Services, TELUS, Bell, Cogeco, call them up.
Oh, shop around.
Shop around. There's a lot of options.
And there's apps like the Honey app, which I found hasn't been as effective lately for some reason. But there are apps or like Ebates, things you can subscribe to so that when you are buying, you get some sort of incentive for doing it.
Yeah, I like Ebates. It's better than, you see, I don't know. I debate with this sometimes because air miles. Do you collect air miles?
Well, I get, so you mean like the air miles, the blue card?
Is that what I just asked? Do you
Well, I
collect
mean,
air
like,
miles?
yes. The answer is yes. I've never used them. I don't know how many I have, but every time I can swipe it, I swipe it.
Right.
But so I've never redeemed them.
So I wasn't collecting them because I don't know, I had this, and maybe air miles had that stigma of collecting information. And, you see where.
Here comes Heather and Whit.
Welcome to the Whitney Show. They're collecting information and seeing your habits and where you're.
I get it. I can see why some people don't want that collected, but I don't care.
Well, now your information and your savings and your spending and all that, it's being tracked anyway.
Yeah.
So just get with the times and give into these programs that are actually benefiting you in some way. So Ebates, you spend some money, it gives you money back.
Or if you got to be careful with this, but if you are diligent and know how to use credit cards, get something with a rebate of some sort or an incentive. Like I have the travel miles and I've got thousands of dollars saved
You
up.
should be paying for everything on your credit card.
I agree.
You should do every single transaction that you transact with your credit card.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, you're going to get some kind of points. You're going to get Avion points or whatever crap points, right?
Yeah.
Something. They're giving you something for just using the card. You have to make sure that you're paying it before the payment is due, your monthly payment. So during that statement date, just pay the full balance after you get your statement, and then you're not paying interest on it. Right. So maybe you're paying a small annual fee, which a lot of financial institutions now are rebating if you've got other products with them. The other thing that it does is it tracks all of it's easier to track.
Right. So like with mint.com, it will download all that data. You can figure out what you're spending.
it's easy, when even forgetting mint.com, like if you're doing all of your transactions on one card, not only are you building the points on that one card, which makes it valuable, but at a quick glance, you can see what you've spent in the last few days and where it's been spent. And you can also see if there's any fraudulent activity. So you're only keeping, I have, I think, 4 credit cards. I only use one of them.
Same. And it's good for,
I pay it before any interest is charged. So it costs me nothing.
If you don't have, or if you have bad credit or no credit.
You sound like one of those commercials. If you got bad credit,
it's a great way.
Come on down to Larry Joe Nancy's.
It's a great way to improve or establish credit. But, and this all comes with an asterisk, if you're not disciplined to pay it off properly, do not use it.
All goes to hell. If you don't pay that full balance by the time that statement date is up.
Yeah, like you shouldn't be spending money you don't have. And some people use it for that purpose.
A lot of cards are 19.99, 24.99% interest.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you on a minimal balance, like I'll have to do the exact math, but the average Canadian, I believe the number, I can't remember, but it was somewhere in the vicinity of just under $10,000 in credit card revolving debt. And so your interest on that, you're talking a couple $100 a month.
Just interest. And that's what a lot of people are paying. And then they get into that cycle where they can't pay it down because now they can no longer afford more than the interest.
If you're going to pay interest, pay it on a mortgage.
Right.
And even that, out of your mortgage payment, half of it is about 45% of your mortgage payment is going to interest. So if you have an extra $100 a month that you just saved by cutting back your Bell bill, throw it to your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Pay down that mortgage faster.
Yeah. Well, I pay a couple $100 more than I'm supposed to biweekly. And every month they send me a revised summary of the total interest paid over the term. And it's unbelievable how much you save over that term. It's crazy.
So 2020, any New Year's resolutions for yourself. Don't set New Year's resolutions, but you got any?
Yeah, I've goals. And I've been slacking. I haven't really written them down yet. But the two that I'm going to work on are fitness. I'm going to get back into being healthier, which I did really good with for the first 6 months of last year. And I'm also going to budget. I've literally never ever budgeted. I've always been very.
Even me preaching about it all these years, you've still never done it.
No, not officially. Like I've always been very frugal, so I don't really spend a lot.
You don't know if you spend a lot or not if you're not tracking and budgeting.
Well, like I you're right, and that's why I want to budget. Like I always know I've got my savings, I put money away, but I really don't know where I'm spending my money. So it would be interesting to see exactly what's being spent, and then set up a budget. So X amount of money for fast food, X amount of money for clothing per year, whatever.
Yep.
Set up a budget. Look at our utility costs and see if everything's reasonable or if there are areas to save.
It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
And it really helps you attain your goals when it comes to those things that you want to accomplish that cost money. So if you want to take a vacation, if you want to buy a house, or if you want to upgrade your home, if you want to renovate your home.
I think the biggest one is eating out and coffee. Like I remember going back to the auto industry again, almost every day people were going out for lunch.
I was one of them.
And a lot of these people were maybe, I don't know, how much were they making? $15 an hour? Like
you're talking about like part-time staff and stuff like that.
So they work in more.
Well, even the ones making 40, 50 grand a year. Right. If you have a household income of $120,000, which is the average in Milton, after house, mortgage, your utilities, cars, 2 cars,
well, you think
insurance, gas.
If you're making $15 an hour, let's just because that's pretty common.
That's minimum wage now.
It's not. It's a little bit higher, but it's very common, especially based on people we've been talking with recently. Let's say you're making $15 an hour. You go out for lunch. You spend $15 on lunch easily. That's about an hour and a half of time you've had to work after taxes.
Yep.
Pay for that.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
Yep,
it's ridiculous. So pack a lunch.
I think a lot of people
make a coffee.
They say, it's just $5 or it's just $15 or I got to have my Starbucks or whatever. But I think you'll be surprised if you're tracking it and you've got those goals and the budgets and you've got that in visual in front of you. As an example, when I smoked, which I haven't touched a cigarette now in a long time. But in the car business, a lot of people smoked. We smoked. How much was a pack of cigarettes? $10?
$10. Yeah.
Oh, it's just a pack of cigarettes, right?
You go through 2, maybe 3 a week.
Oh, I didn't, but maybe you did. But the average person that smokes.
People do 1 a day.
Oh, yeah. Some are more. Over the course of the year, over the course of 5 years, 10 years, my God, that adds up.
Yeah.
And then the coffees. The coffees are the killer. Those morning stops. Oh, I got to have my Tim's and my bagel.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much is your Tim's and your bagel? Every day you get in the car, you get your Tim's and your bagel.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Or your coffee and your bagel at Tim's.
Even just
$5.
Even if you just do coffee, think about it. A coffee is what, $1.20, $1.50. You can make it at home for 20 cents.
Yeah. I get it. I understand. My spouse is one of those people. It's not the same. I get it's not the same speech, right? Oh, Starbucks, the Starbucks beans that we buy and brew on our expensive Ura coffee maker that grinds it fresh and it's not the same.
It's all the placebo effect. Though.
Of course.
If you make a coffee at home,
I'm gonna do that. She doesn't listen to the podcasts anymore.
Bring it home in a Starbucks cup.
I'm literally gonna brew a coffee at home. And then take it with me to Starbucks.
Even make like a fancy latte or something. And she'd be like, oh my Oh my God. How'd you get a pumpkin spice latte in January?
It's a special they're having.
Yeah.
Well, Starbucks, you get a latte because, a lot of people get the fancier drinks, right?
Yeah.
Like Jen and her caramel macchiato.
Forget the price.
How much is a caramel macchiato?
This is like 1,000 calories.
Oh, yeah.
They're
the amount of
ridiculous.
sugar in
Like,
that.
price aside.
If your New Year's resolution was
Oh
to
my
lose
goodness.
weight, maybe cut out the Starbucks and the 5 pounds of sugar you're consuming.
Yeah.
But how much is a caramel macchiato?
$5 for a drink.
Okay, so how many times in a month will you get a Starbucks? No, you or Gavin buying Starbucks once or twice.
Gavin will buy tea.
Let's say
I think she's being conservative.
I think that's being very conservative because I think I've ran into them there probably 5 times.
Yeah.
In the same month during client meetings. Anyways, well, let's just say it's twice a month.
$10
Times 2 people.
Right. $20 a month.
$20 a month.
Yeah.
All right. Now, where else can you do that? Are you stopping at, Taco Bell and getting a couple of tacos every month? I
know lots of people that do it.
Yeah, sure.
And if that's what you want to do, fine. But don't do it and complain about money. That's what I mean. That's fine. If you want to spend your money on that, do it.
It's not fine. Fuck it. It's not fine.
No, it is. Everyone's different. You can't razz on somebody if that's what they want to do and that's how they want to spend their money. And they're not complaining about having a lack of money or not complaining about having a lack of savings. If that's how they want to live, that's fine. But if you're complaining, then we're talking to you.
But do people that complain about the things you're telling them don't complain about, do they even know they're complaining?
Well, you're getting all psychological on me.
Well, no, but this is reality. This is where we live. People will say, oh, the house is, I hate my house and I want to upgrade my house, but I can't because I can't afford it. Same schmuck is there at Starbucks buying 20 Starbucks a month.
Right. So, yeah. Okay. So that's complaining. I agree.
But they don't recognize the root cause.
Right.
So you're complaining,
but
not recognizing why you're complaining. Well,
right. Well, that's somebody who's complaining. I agree. So that person, you should sit them down and say, well, you're spending, $100,000 worth of a mortgage on these 3 things every month that you shouldn't be. And that's how you're going to get the house you want. Cut back your cable, revise your cell phone plan, cut out the coffee. There's your upgraded house. Something simple like that.
It's not even an upgraded house. Some people have a home and they want to get an investment property so they can build equity.
Right.
So they can have wealth and retire comfortably. When we retire, I will never actually stop working. But when we get to the legal age of retirement here in the province of Ontario,
I don't know what that is anymore. I think it's up from 65, 67, I think. Yeah.
67. So at the age of 67, what's the government going to give us to live on? Nothing. We don't have pensions or any kind of plan because we're self-employed. So you have to build equity and save money and do those things. And the wealth is gained in property and owning real estate and holding on to it.
Yeah.
You can earn more income by doing things on the side. You can cut back your expenses and then use all of that to a greater good to benefit your life or your children's lives in the future. So my goal for 2020 is educating people on this. And now anytime I'm meeting with a client, I haven't even actually talked to you guys and trained the staff on this yet, but I'm going to get passionate about it because I've been doing this exercise with a lot of my clients. No longer am I just sitting down and talking about their needs and wants of a home. I'm actually diving into their financials. I know it's kind of crazy, and why would somebody open up and start talking to me about how much money they're spending?
Well, no, if they're telling you that these are the things they would like, but it's a stretch for them or it's not attainable, then why not? Well, why is it not attainable? Why do you think you can't afford it? Well, let's look at,
where is your money going?
Right.
can we better direct it, right? Because I believe we're advisors in that capacity.
Yes.
And we need to advise on what's a resolution to solving their long-term success and their long-term goals.
Right.
So I'll go back. Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Adrian?
Yes, I just said them. One is to get back into healthy lifestyle, which is food and exercise. The other is to actually budget, sit down, look at my expenses, come up with a budget for 2020.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kept it simple this year.
Yeah. Well, and maybe go on a vacation.
Yes, you've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah, I'll add that. One real vacation for sure.
So have that in your budget.
Yes. Well, I don't need to because I have $8,000 worth of travel points saved up on my credit card.
That means you're spending a shit ton of money, brother.
Well, no, that's a
See, you think you're frugal, but you actually spend more money than you.
That has been accumulating for 7 years.
Yeah,
and that was when we were using our personal cards for business expenses, so added up faster.
Our business credit cards have racked up a lot of points. I wonder if there's a free trip in there for us at some point.
Well, it's just money, so it's a dollar's value.
Oh, is that how it works?
Mm-hmm.
So in today's training session, so for those of you that don't know, I do run regular and consistent training sessions here with the rest of the realtors on the team. And today, the topic is starting 2020 off quickly. And I kind of got them prepped with that in December. We did all of our goal and targets and just discussions around goals and planning. We did that in early December.
Yeah.
And then we gave everybody basically the holiday season, we'll call it, from more or less the 21st of December till today. Today's the first day everybody's back in the office. So that's a nice 2-week stretch where we work a little bit, but kind of take it easy.
But this
Family
time of the year,
drinks, and
it's important
food
to
and all
have that meeting because this time of the year, people are dragging their feet.
Well, that's it. We got to start off. You got to start off the new year with, just running full steam ahead.
Right.
A lot of salespeople in general, in any industry, when you get back to work after the holiday break, it's hard to get started up again, right? Especially if you've been eating and drinking a lot, you're a little sluggish, you haven't been exercising maybe as much as you should have, you didn't move around, you're watching too many movies, eating too many potato chips, those kind of things. So today, that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about knowing the market, how important it is at the beginning of the year for a realtor to know what's happening in the market, what is still on the market, what carried from 2019 into 2020, what's selling, when's it selling, how quickly is it selling, but also any new listings that come up. I'm going to make everybody go out and see them.
Yeah.
So we know, this is what that looked like. This is how it smelled. This is how it felt when we were inside. And this is what it sold for. And we track it.
Well, another big thing we do this time of year, which I'll be sending out a client list to each of our team members. It's that time of year again.
Market evaluations?
Market evaluation time.
Yeah.
So you and I have a few hundred homes to evaluate and send off to our clients.
That takes a lot of time.
Yeah. It's a really good exercise, though. Really good. Because it helps you throughout the entire year.
Oh, it does.
Because you've got your finger on the pulse. You know exactly what's happening. You can, look at a lot of homes and say, well, I know this is worth that much because I valued a similar one.
So for those that don't know, all of our clients get a yearly value on their home. So the realtor that worked with them closest will actually sit down at the end of the year and beginning of the new year and do a full analysis on their property and actually mail you out the current value of your property. And it's not a sales pitch or anything. It's our way of doing kind of like what a financial institution would do with your savings account or your RSP or your mutual funds, whatever. So you know what value is in your largest investment. Yeah. And it's a great way for us to get ourselves involved with the market on a whole other level. And like you mentioned, if we have a client that has a Mattamy Emery model and we've done I don't know how many clients we have with that model, but probably half dozen at least.
Yeah.
So you do 6 evaluations on the same house. If somebody with that model calls us,
You know
anytime,
exactly the range it's going to fall into.
and you're educated on it, right?
Right.
And then for our clients, somebody might be thinking of downsizing, upgrading, selling, moving, whatever. So they're, more intimate to the market as well without having to call us.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about eliminating distractions, because it's very easy when you're self-employed I call it the squirrel effect, right? You get the random phone call or the random email or the random DM that just sets you off and, throws you for a loop or whatever. 20 minutes later, you've spent all that time on something that you weren't planning.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about scheduling your calendar and sticking to that on a daily basis, and to include things like client meetings, income producing activities, and itemizing them in the calendar and sticking to it. And then maybe you have a half an hour of that squirrel effect in between to return phone calls, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. Having a good workspace that you feel comfortable in. So here I've told everybody that I don't want stuff left on their desks, but everybody has a home office. And I was working on that myself over the Christmas break. Having a nice home office where you feel good to be in.
That's something I usually do every year.
Yeah.
This time of year is I clean up my home office.
You do a purge and just make it nice.
Yeah.
I got a great book that I want to read as a gift, and I decided I'm going to set up a little sitting area in my home office so I can do that. Anyway, just having a nice workspace. Being prepared and organized, so not having to scramble. The scramble effect is hard on a lot of entrepreneurs. So for a realtor, if we get a call and somebody wants to list their home, you got the paperwork ready to go. You've got all of the things that you need, your catalogs, your brochures, all of your tools are in the car. If you're running an open house, everything's ready to go. Those kind of things. We're going to talk about getting more appointments and getting out face-to-face, doing some more networking, things like that. And then I want everybody to kind of focus on being an educator. So I've talked to most of our staff about ramping up our social media, especially their own individual ones.
Yeah.
But being an educator on real estate, but also things that they like when we do our podcast, we're educating people on some things. We ramble and we talk and this and that, but you're trying to educate. And so I want them to be educators too. So it's a big agenda.
You should record the meeting.
I was thinking about it.
It's a good idea.
Anyway.
New Year's resolutions, KT 100.
You didn't ask me what
challenge. You were going on forever. I forgot. What are yours?
I don't have any. Thanks for listening. Episode 60. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe. Really, how many people are telling me now they've subscribed to the podcast and we're giving them a good chuckle, or we're giving them good insights or good information. So if you've got any ideas, you want us to talk about anything else, leave us a comment.
Yeah.
Send us a DM. We love you.
Happy New Year. That was cute.
I think some of these cut off on you guys while you guys were in that.
Oh, well, you're supposed to be on top of that.
I know, but I got distracted with something else.
I have to pee so bad. That's why I forgot to ask Gary. I was dying.